Hello, and welcome to the 420 24/7, where you can get all the cannabis news that you can use. I'm your host, Madelinekarita, and we're going to start with some of the top cannabis news stories of the day. It seems that NASA is investigating Elon Musk after a video of him smoking a blunt with Joe Rogan went viral. 3 officials with knowledge of the issue told the Washington Post the incident was related to Musk's appearance on Rogan's podcast, which was live streamed on YouTube and featured the business mogul take one hit off of a blunt and have several sips of whiskey. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine says in a statement, "If I see something that's inappropriate, the key concern to me is that the culture that led to the inappropriateness, and is NASA involved in that? As an agency, we're not just leading ourselves, but our contractors as well. We need to show the American public that when we put an astronaut on a rocket, they'll be safe." I'm pretty sure that when the Challenger exploded, that most of them had not smoked blunts before. Not to put the Challenger thing in less of a light on how serious and how horrible it was when that happened, but let's keep it 100. Accidents happen. I feel like Elon Musk is in such a position with SpaceX and NASA that he's not putting together the rockets himself. Let's just put that there. He's not the engineer. He's not putting together the rockets himself. And I'm sure he isn't taking long hits of OG Kush before he goes and tries to, do his job. But once again, this is a question of weed and the workplace. In legal states, is it okay for a business owner or a person in charge of a corporation to fire an employee because they indulge in legalized weed? If it's legal, I'm not really seeing the difference between that and having a beer, except beer is way more dangerous and causes more deaths every year than blunts do. But back to SpaceX, which, by the way, was founded by Elon Musk with the goal of reducing space cost travels and enabling the human colonization of Mars, released a statement saying it actively promotes workplace safety, and we are confident that our comprehensive drug-free workplace and workplace programs exceed all applicable contractual requirements. He is right. As long as you're not stepping into your job as a mechanical engineer, hitting a blunt every 20 hours, as long as your smoke break doesn't involve heavy amounts of use of THC, I'm not really sure what NASA is trying to do here. And as we've known in the last few years, while we as a nation still love the idea of space travel, nobody's really cared about NASA in a very, 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 very long time. And I don't think that has anything to do with whether or not the engineers are smoking blunts or whether or not the astronauts are smoking blunts. I believe that the problems with NASA are way bigger than whether Elon Musk hit a blunt on Joe Rogan's show. Maybe they should worry about addressing those workplace issues first. And our next top story. 1/3 of Canadian cannabis consumers still use the black market. What's going on here, Canada? What is cracking? I mean, I have an idea of why they're using it, but let's get into the facts of this. An Ipsos poll surveyed Canadians who have bought cannabis since October 17th and found that 35% of them use their pre-legalization sources. As the Global News reports, one of Canada's biggest reasons for legalizing was to combat the illicit market. Vancouver and the other places in Canada have struggled to shrink their illicit and refuses to rely on guns and head bashing. The poll, which surveyed 2,400 Canadians, was statistically adjusted to reflect the demographics of Canada, which structured to figure out where Canadians are currently getting their cannabis. The exact results are accurate within 2.3%. 28% use the government. 28% use the government stores. 22% visit licensed private stores. 16% stopped at licensed private website. And 35% stuck with their previous non-governmental dealers. Alan Warwick of the Cannabis Council of Canada's executive director said that legalization is a process, not an act. Okay, so let's be 100 here. The reason that places are legalizing cannabis isn't because they want to really shrink their illicit market. We know the drug game was made up by governments. That's who made this crap up. What I'm saying here is, right, as somebody who smokes, or I'm not a Canadian, but as somebody who has partaken, people like to go to people they trust. And I don't care where you live, in what city, state, government, wherever you happen to be, people do not trust the government. Why don't we trust the government? Because the government says things like, we're legalizing this to shrink the illicit market. No, you're legalizing this because your people demand it. You're legalizing this because you see how much money there is to profit off of smokers. And not just smokers, but the cannabis industry, the paraphernalia industry, the edible industry, the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry. The benefits financially that cannabis hold can no longer be denied. We see how much money it makes. It's not just an underground market. People talk about it being illicit, but it's making billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. And I don't think for 1 second that most of the governments that are legalizing it, most of the mayors, all of that, most of the mayors, most of the councilors, I'm not really sure who is the head of provinces in Canada, I guess. I don't know what they're called, but I'm damn sure positive that most of them are not doing it because they feel that this will help them combat illicit black market drug deals. They're not. Nobody gets shot over weed unless it's tons and tons of weed. People get shot over truckfuls of weed. Ain't nobody getting shot over a blunt. Ain't nobody getting shot by the recreational cannabis user. Let's just put that out there. The black market exists because governments help it exist. Governments profited off of that. Governments profit off of arresting drug dealers. Governments profit off of having the DEA go and bust people and do investigations. We profit off of that crap. So I'm not going to sit here and think that somehow they're going to feed me bullshit and tell me that it's pate. That's not going to happen here. And the reason that people are still going to those people is because that's who they trust. They don't trust you, government. Just let's be 100. They don't trust you, government. They trust the people that they know. They trust their friends. They trust the people that are in their lives every day. They trust the people that they have come to know, that have helped them, who have, in a way, been their therapist, and also their doctors. So you're never going to be able to beat that number of government shops in Canada, in America. You're never going to really be able to undo that. Humans are going to always want to be around and buy from people that they like. Nobody sees the government as their friend. No, in America, where I happen to be right now, we don't trust our government. We stopped trusting our government a long time ago. We see that once you get involved in the government websites and the government stores, you're helping the government. That isn't really necessarily reaching out and giving back to you. The same thing that our government made illegal, knowing that it was medicinally helpful for its people, is the same thing they now want to legalize, and somehow it's out of the goodness of their heart. It's because they care about their people. Well, moving on. And last but not least, it is the legendary rapper, icon, West Coast born and bred, the D-O-G-G-Y, Snoop Doggy Dogg, getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame today.
1, 2, 1, 2. First of all, I want to thank the committee and all of the people in Hollywood that put this together, that felt I was worthy enough to have my name on a star in Hollywood. I appreciate the love. I've been coming to Hollywood for a long time, looking down on the ground at these stars and just imagining what it would be like to be down here one day. It's a great feeling to look out here and see all the people that really make me who I am, the fans, all of y'all out there. For real though, I gotta give a shout out to my A1 from day one, DJ Warren G. DJ Warren G believed in Snoop Dogg when Snoop Dogg didn't believe in himself, so I look at today as a day that we can celebrate as homeboys because he believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So, G-Dub, this is our star, big homie. Yes, sir. Got to give a shout out to all of the people behind the scenes that helped Snoop Dogg become who he is. I'm talking about my mother, I'm talking about my father, I'm talking about my aunties, the people in my life growing up, my mentors, my wife, for being there for me, for being my backbone, being strong enough to stay down with me and understand the fact that I was doing what I was trying to do best, but being there for me through the hard times and the good times. Shout out to all of the rappers that I rap with, that I wrote with, that I combined my talents with to create who we created. Mainly the DOC, my mentor, my teacher, for taking his time and, you know, putting his thoughts to the side to give me his spirit to do what I do and to instill that in me. Shout out to all of the people behind the scenes that used to go against me when I used to battle rap or whatnot. Because the battle rappers made me who I am. You know, to be able to battle against somebody to get better and to challenge yourself, I got to give him a shout out, because without that I wouldn't have been able to be so challenging and courageous and being able to put my skills at a high level. Shout out to Dr. Dre for believing. Dr. Dre believed in me when I really wasn't nothing. And I'm gonna say that because I mean that, because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to be a rapper, and Warren G believed in me. And when Dr. Dre gave me the opportunity, he didn't look at me like somebody that was less than him. He looked at me like an equal, and we always been brothers from that day. And that was real effective with me, because when you dealing with a star and you coming in as a nobody, it's easy for the star to downlook you or to play you low. But for him to look at me even, that's why we never said no to this day, because we always look at each other as brothers and we depend on each other and we need each other. So Dr. Dre, I want to tell you I love you, cuz, for being my brother through hard times, real times, and good times. Quincy Jones. I can't believe you got up this early. I love Quincy Jones. Like Quincy said, we used to party at his house when he wasn't there back in the days, but he was nice enough to let us use his house. And he's just always been like a mentor to us, been like a big brother to us, trying to help us understand that we need to be more positive and more instrumental with our voices. And now that I'm looking back at it, and now we at this date, I can say that I'm thankful for Quincy for being who he was, for trying to tell us to get our lives right and to be more positive and more productive. Because now that I'm a positive, productive man, I can walk around more peaceful and more happy. And I want to thank you, Quincy, for instilling that in me, and hopefully I'll instill that into the young generation of rappers so they won't have to go through the mess that we went through and cut the mess early and just get straight to the business. Last but not least, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for always being a giver and trying to give more than I receive. I want to thank me for trying to do more right than wrong. I want to thank me for just being me at all times. Snoop Dogg, you a bad. Thank you, cuz. I appreciate that. And I gotta thank the man up top, G.O.D., because I'm nothing without him. Man, y'all have a beautiful day. Hollywood, thank y'all for letting me get it in. And all the Crips and Bloods, I want y'all to come Crip walk on my star later on tonight, cuz.
And then this was followed up by a moving and emotional speech by Dr. Dre.
Imagine where I would be in my life if I had not collaborated with Snoop. That album was the foundation to this amazing life I'm living right now, and because of that, we became family. You know, you could do this. You just gotta keep it gangster. So yeah, we went on for a continuous 9 months to create that album, and that record completely changed the course of my life. And I can imagine. But listen, Snoop was always there for me, ready to work and constantly motivating and pushing me and making me believe I could do it. I mean, I could always hear his voice in my head. Come on, Dr. Dre, cuz.
Award-winning artist and producer who began his music career as a member of the world-class Wrecking Crew. Shortly after, he co-founded the legendary group NWA. He has discovered numerous hip-hop superstars, it's time to welcome Dr. Dre to the stage.
Yeah, how y'all doing out there? Everybody feeling all right? Yeah, this is exciting, man. Check it out. Make some noise for Snoop Dogg one time. Yeah, I can't believe this. We've come such a long way. Let me tell you something. Snoop should have got this star just for making it out of the 90s. But seriously, think about this. Think about this time. Back in the day, Snoop came to me at a very low point in my life, and I had just separated myself from Ruthless Records. I had no money for food. I didn't even have furniture in my house at that time. I had to start completely over from scratch, and at that moment in my life, it was make it or break it for me. Then, it was time to do my first solo album, The Chronic. Right? I had no idea how I was going to do it, how it was going to get done, and then boom, here comes Snoop. Right? But true diamond in the rough. I mean, Snoop is just pure, raw talent. Nobody sounds like Snoop. And when he opens his mouth, you know exactly who it is, you feel me? No, not only that, but his style and charisma made me feel like he was destined to be a superstar. You know when you can just feel it, he's got that thing, that it factor, you feel me? So this is what I was experiencing at that time, and all I had to do was go in the studio and do my part. So bear with me. But listen, Snoop was always there for me, ready to work and constantly motivating and pushing me and making me believe I could do it. I mean, I could always hear his voice in my head. Come on, Dr. Dre, cuz, you can do this. You just gotta keep it gangster. So yeah, we went on for a continuous 9 months to create that album, and that record completely changed the course of my life. And I can imagine where I would be in my life if I had not collaborated with Snoop. That album was the foundation to this amazing life I'm living right now, and because of that, we became family. You know? Now fast forward to Snoop's first solo album, Doggy Style. It's time for me to return the favor. You know? I thought it was gonna be a cakewalk. I thought all we had to do was go.
And now a word from our sponsor, Rasta Tea's Hot and Barbecue Sauces. It goes on everything. When I mean everything, I mean everything.
Yeah, man, this is Pee Wee Dread. Rasta Teas, the best hot sauce in America, the best hot sauce in the world. If you never seen it, tell all your boys and girls who's got the hot sauce, who's the real boss.
Are you ready for a hot sauce wonderland, or are you gonna sit in the chicken coop for the bland? With enticing bold flavor, molasses, brown sugar, fresh habaneros, freshest tomatoes, the freshest onions and garlic, local farms, local business, helping us supply fresh, non-GMO products.
Rasta Tea's Hot and Barbecue Sauce. It goes with everything.
Keep my fire burning. We need more wood for the fire. Keep my fire burning. Oh God, we need more.